Punks, which was some original NFT art, is now selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like this one here, sold for I think $800,000. This little picture of this guy in the corner. Then you have sports cards, collectibles, anything that can be collectible, made a collectible, tokenized, digitized. People are even doing real estate on NFTs. And so they're selling houses through this, and it shows a proof of ownership, okay? And that's key. It's separate from copyright, but it's a proof of ownership. And of course, the regulatory side hasn't been fully developed on that either, but it's coming very soon. And just to give you a scope of the idea of what these non-fungible assets are worth, the sales have exceeded 2 billion just in this first quarter. And so in the second quarter, same thing, even more. So this is quite an exciting space. Now the benefits, I'm just going to go over this a couple minutes, guys. The benefits are of blockchain is it's arguably more efficient than existing systems, more transparent, incentivizes multiple stakeholders, and it's a form of alternative financing as well. Incentivizing stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? The stakeholders are the consumers, the buyers and sellers. The stakeholders are anybody in the economy that's functioning. And so it blockchain, especially through Ethereum and smart contracts, has a way to create incentivized multiple incentive structures. And this is what Bitcoin also did by saying, okay, well, we want to incentivize the miners to mine the Bitcoin, to create the Bitcoin. We want to incentivize the holders of the Bitcoin to increase their value. And then we want to incentivize the traders to move back and forth within the currency. And then we, and also use it for different things. And so the multiple incentivizing of stakeholders and through Bitcoin, which you could actually buy for a small amount of money or an easier transaction, is quite a valuable thing. It's, of course, as several people obviously on the call tell you, it's an alternative form of financing. So people who have tough access to credit, people who need an alternative form of financing, there's lending and borrowing sites like Celsius and so forth. And then the last piece, which is another benefit, is democratic governance. Democratic governance is that decentralized autonomous organizations are coming out from Ethereum, and now there's even seeing it as a legal personality, meaning you can have a legal entity in Wyoming in the United States and probably several other jurisdictions around the world, where it's basically a democratically governed entity. So you can set up a voting system, you can set up a management system, infrastructure, a government infrastructure, all with smart contracts where the people that are the stakeholders within that organization decide. And so it's not limited to shareholders like a corporation. It's open to different holders of the token or people that are engaged according to the way that the smart contract was written. So that's a big advancement and a huge benefit, especially for democracies. Limitations, there's a few big ones. First of all, regulatory. It's a minefield. Is anybody working in the blockchain crypto regulatory space? I know we had some people sign up that were on that in that space. Well, there's a lot of questions up there and a lot of things unknown. And so we don't know if to what extent it's going to be taxed. Is it going to be taxed? Where it's going to be taxed? How it's going to be taxed? So tax is a big issue, but then there's also who owns it and who controls it, and can it be insured, and all these questions. Volatility, can it be insured? That's a big issue, especially when we're talking about countries in development, low income economies. When we're talking about, if I buy this for one Ethereum today, is it going to be worth, was that Ethereum going to double in price or be half the value tomorrow? So instead of paying $1,000 for a new phone, I pay 500 for it. And how does that work? And then of course the security issues, which are in all technologies. and some people signed up who are security experts in blockchain as well. And then simplicity, right? It's not so easy. This has been a problem I've seen in technology and ed tech and online learning for 15 years. The technology now is finally at the user interface where the general user and the public can function with an app. Before, there was a large amount of population that couldn't even function with the basic apps, much less do anything complex. Google and Apple have revolutionized this, of course, and many other genius designers, but it's still a lot simpler to use the bank or your credit card than it is to use Bitcoin. And so we have to work on that. Then the major applications are Bitcoin, and then out of that has emanated a bunch of different coins like Dogecoin. And just to mention Elon Musk, because he makes a tweet apparently, and the Bitcoin volatility goes up and down. He says Tesla's going to buy, you can buy a Tesla car through Bitcoin one day, and then changes it to where you can't buy one the next day. And so with these celebrities playing with Bitcoin and getting into this space, you see a lot of interesting things developing. But basically, Bitcoin is a decentralized cryptocurrency that works outside of any government or centralized entity, and a lot of people are interested in that. Ethereum is that same thing, except it's a nonprofit organization. So Bitcoin has an anonymous creator named Satoshi Nakamoto, or creators, and so we don't know who they are. But with Ethereum, it's a foundation based in Switzerland, and they went above, I believe, above Bitcoin quite a bit by creating smart contracts, which is contracts that actuate on their own. DeFi has come out of Ethereum, which is decentralized finance. And now you have apps where you can simply lend and borrow and stake and yield farm and do all the kind of things that you would in traditional financial markets, but even more interesting. And you don't have to be an institutionalized investor or whatever to get involved in DeFi. And then you have the NFTs, which I already mentioned, and the DAO, the decentralized autonomous organization, which I also mentioned, all coming out of the Ethereum space. And then there's new blockchains that are copying that, developing that further. Some of you might have heard of Cardano, Polkadot, and these other ones. And then there's a centralized group, which is IBM, Sony, and so forth, where the corporations are making their own blockchains. And they're doing it for many purposes. One, in Sony's case, in Mitsubishi's case in Japan, they had a human resources problem, people lying on their resume. Has anybody on this call lied on their resume? I won't make you say yes. But basically they found out through the hard way, meaning hiring people that weren't capable or competent. They found out the hard way that people lie on the resume, and PricewaterhouseCoopers actually even said 37.5% of people are lying on their resume. And so they decided to have a blockchain qualification verification system set up, and they could do that through IBM, or they could do that through their own blockchain that they developed. And that's a centralized system, unlike Bitcoin or Ethereum. Okay, and now let's get to the fun stuff. Now, if I missed something out, please fill us all in. I gave you the quickest overview that I could. Okay, great. And people,
yeah. So sorry to interrupt, Josh. Oh, so sorry.
Hi, Trent.
Hey, yes, sir. Absolutely. Pleasure to meet you. So when incorporating, didn't get to give my background. I'm working in Hyperledger Fabric and Solidity smart contract developer. I know you covered just shortly the private blockchain, and just to go back 30 seconds on your sector, I know with IBM, Hyperledger Fabric is a big implementation with a lot of those enterprises in terms of how they govern their DAOs and smart contract integration. So I didn't know if just for the difference, private blockchains and Hyperledger they fall under the same sector, but are very different in terms of enterprise incorporation. So I just didn't know if that was a little bit of I didn't know if that was covered too hard, but I just didn't want people to get too confused, the difference between Hyperledger and private blockchains, as they do differ.
No, it wasn't covered. We just covered the very, very basics here. But why don't you give us an overview of what Hyperledger is and then that difference? That would
Oh,
be great,
I,
Trent.
Oh, absolutely. So really, when you get to private blockchains versus Hyperledger, Hyperledger comes into the play big enterprises in terms of IBM, Pfizer. Not sure if you guys have heard the news of Pfizer and their blockchain tracking with Hyperledger Fabric for tracking vaccine doses, vaccine exports and imports. India was a very big player in terms of getting um, their COVID integration under control for their vaccines. Definitely the difference between the two when you have private versus Hyperledger. Enterprises utilize Hyperledger in terms of supply chain, higher integration in terms of really strict implementations for enterprise. And where you get the private and enterprise difference is where anyone can make a private, but Hyperledger is more for the enterprise. You would not use enterprise, you would not use a Hyperledger Fabric for anything less than a enterprise company.
Right.
So that's just more of the sense that come into play. But thanks so much.
Right.
I just wanted to make that clear.
Absolutely. And Trent, where are you calling from?
So I'm here from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm a younger guy, 21. So I'm just
21.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Well, we have some more. We have some other people that are students, but it sounds like you're already working in industry.
I worked at a company called B2B Solutions. So I've been a smart contract developer, Hyperledger developer for about 2 years now.
Fantastic. And since this is a career services, I'm going to hold you on there for a second there, Trent.
No worries,
since this is a career services with MIT and we're looking at possible careers, there's not only, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this, is not only careers in marketing, management, entrepreneurship, law, taxation, government, but obviously the key thing that people seem to be looking for are developers. And so now you're 21 years old and you're already advanced and you're probably making already a pretty good salary as a Solidity developer. And so that's one area that's huge for growth. So for if anybody's, would that be correct, Trent?
Oh, yeah, the average in the United States right now is about $140,000. So we do okay here.
Yeah, it's not bad for $140,000 for a 21-year-old is not bad. But the question is, what do you do with the money? All right, and one of the things that there's a lot of people in crypto that have become billionaires overnight or over a decade, depending on who you're talking to. Whales that have started with $10,000 in Bitcoin and now have a couple million. And so what we have is a lot of potential capital that can also feed back into education. And not only did we have the cryptocurrencies, but we have Hyperledger, what Trent was just talking about. Thanks for the transition, Trent. And what we have is with Hyperledger, you have enterprise level applications of blockchain, super secure, super fast, can do lots of stuff that you program it to. And what I've broken down in education where blockchain can basically, and cryptocurrencies can make an impact is these 6 different areas here. Verifiable credentials and applications, which is the single most widely used wide application in education so far, I believe. And then streamlined administration. A colleague of mine, Josh Brogy from Oxford, started Wolf University a couple years ago that was basically looking to minimize administration and a lot of transactions, because we're talking about blockchain, we're talking about transactions that would naturally happen in a bloated university. And you say, well, where does a lot of the expense come, especially these American universities? Why are they so expensive? Well, a lot of it has to do with administration costs and bloated administration costs as well.
Hey, Josh, do you know what happened to them?
Oh, tell us, Fung, since you're right in the center.
No. I was just curious because last I heard they couldn't get any license in Britain, so they went to Malta and trying to apply for a register for some kind of a blockchain university, but never heard back from them anymore. So I'm curious to see, they claim they can cut off the administrative overhead by even 90 or higher %, and that there was a significant savings and it all sounded great, but just never see any kind of implementation, the actual dApps or applications developed by them.
Yeah, that's funny because I haven't heard from Josh. I invited him to this event actually, and I haven't heard from him in some time. So I think they probably ran into some obstacles, but certainly the idea is there and the potential for minimizing and streamlining
Oh.
administration.
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, that
Mhm.
later, if I get a chance, I can share quite a bit because we have deployed at least a dozen smart contract solutions doing exactly like that. Automate
Really?
student services. Yeah,
How,
yeah.
how about you
And
give us an example of one of the ones that really made an impact? One of those
okay,
smart contracts. Thanks.
yeah. One of it is the student transcript right now at Marivale. First of all, a student's request for a transcript when they apply for jobs, and then normally it will take them hours, if not days, and all of us probably have that experience. Now with smart contract at Marivale, and I've been given live demos to a lot of people, it takes 5 seconds for students and to get that transcript. This is the most important part of the verifiable credentials, and they can get it in 5 seconds and put it in their hands, and it becomes student-owned kind of credentials, so they can share, they can verify, they can do whatever they want to. So, but we're also using, since you're in Europe right now, study abroad right now is being streamlined, and a leave of absence. When we first started this, I did not even know. Just ask for leave of absence was very complicated. It involves multiple parties and the deans, the program director, the instructors themselves, financial aid, and so forth, and all that. So now it's all being streamlined, and all of Marivale's faculty contracts. And you're going to love this. And it used to be a week-long process. Now they just send out over 700 contract offers to adjunct faculty, and literally within minutes, and they started coming in, and then within the first day, and over 72% already co-signed or responded, done, and 100% accountability.
Wow.
So yeah. So just to share a few, and we have put in so many different smart contract solutions.
Right. So this is, so you're making this a reality. What Josh Broggie and
I gave Gartner 2 vendor briefings, just so you know. So they're also very interested in what we're doing.
Who is that?
Gartner.
Okay.
Gartner. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. All right. And so what we see is streamlined administration. Well, those are excellent examples. Thank you very much. Innovation and research. Obviously, this is a very innovative new area, and it's going to be more and more innovation. They say we're right at the beginning of this. And so this is a big deal also for research funding, new innovations that cut across in UCL where I formerly was working as a lecturer and executive. They've innovated with public policy and privacy. So in the sense of that, you can have your health information and own it, and then decide at any time who can get it, yet it can be stored in the blockchains. I mean, this is a huge improvement, and many other things. Academic communities, I hope to actually kick off while I'm in Miami, and next year at the same time as the Miami Tech Conference, I actually hope to kick off a blockchain and education conference. And I hope that some of you will be there, especially Master Feng. I definitely hope you will be there, and many others. I think blockchain and education is a big topic, and we need to get all of these Bitcoin whales and a lot of people that are interested in finance seeing how this is being applied and can be applied, and the sky's the limit. And then, of course, there's financial inclusion, which I'll talk about in a minute, and cost control, which is actually what Professor Feng mentioned. Now, where I'm going to lead to today, because of what our solution does, is verifiable credentials and financial inclusion. Now, with verifiable credentials, you already have a lot of systems that are working. So Fung said that, in his university, they have transcripts based on blockchain technology, and it's done in 5 seconds. Okay, well, a lot of people have done these digital badges. The digital badges, I've been using them for years and years. They don't come from the blockchain. They actually come from other internet technologies, JSON, and so forth, that you can use, that you can create these badges, and the badge is a digital certification. And again, David Leeser's not on the call today, maybe couldn't make it from IBM, but he was the inventor of the digital badge for IBM and the system, and it was so successful that they've now made it across the whole entire company, and many, many thousands of people, about 2 million a year, receive over 22,000 different IBM badges, I believe. And those are not built originally on the blockchain, but the blockchain can do those things like verification. In Malta, they took on BlockCerts, which is a blockchain verification system. It's in the sense of, you could verify a certificate or a qualification at, you went to X university at such a time, and it definitely could verify that through that third party. Credly is a digital badge powerhouse now. They're working with lots of universities. You can see one of their badges right there with Pearson. It says Pearson. That's a Credly badge, and Credly is doing digital badges in universities for education, for private providers, but it's not necessarily tied to the blockchain. So the question about blockchain is, does this need to have a blockchain? And then the question I propose is, what about NFTs? Can NFTs be digital badges? And and Laxman and I would say that yes, they can. And then the other thing I'd like to touch on, which is key to student debt, because I know our time's limited, is only 2 things, is financial inclusion. And so we have people already on this call from around the world, and there's a lot of people in student debt, and a lot of people who can't get access to education. Otherwise talented people, otherwise capable people, and these are people that, for example, I'll give you an example. In the United States, the student debt, after 12 years, only 44% of white males can pay off their student debt. After 12 years of paying it off, only 44% of white males. Now, if that's 66% of the most privileged class, let's say, or group, what about the others? So with women, it's 28%. Only 28% of women in the United States, after 12 years of paying it off, can pay off their student debt. Now, when we get into African American people, now an average Black man is 11% in more debt. And then you have an average Black woman, which is 18% in more debt. And these are official statistics, by the way. And so when you think about that, you not only think about student debt, but also financial literacy. And this is one of the things where I think is not stated as much, because of course we know that blockchain can somehow be integrated into scholarships, nonprofits, fees, employee payout, benefits, like Fung was just talking about, tuition reimbursements, which is another idea that a lot of people could come up with cryptocurrencies. And then, of course, being more literate about finance and about finances is done by learning by doing with the blockchain, right? You learn by doing, by trading cryptocurrencies. And Danila could tell us, you probably learned by doing with cryptocurrencies. Is that correct?
It is.
Right? And so would you say that before you were trading in crypto, that your knowledge was limited, and now after it's helped you to improve your financial knowledge and literacy in general?
It have improved a lot. Like, I have a whole learning platform where I normally go to learn about cryptocurrency and blockchain and stuff like that, like all the different kind of cryptos out there. So the education part of it helps a lot.
Right. And that's just kind of a side benefit. And then of course the transaction costs. And if you're talking about transaction costs to developing countries where you got some immigrants, for example, the United States or here in Europe or somewhere else, who then has to send money back to Africa or send money back to Latin America or another current low income economy, then you're talking about a lot of money they might save through making that transaction via crypto. So there's financial inclusion. These things I'd like to discuss. Tuition reimbursements, scholarships, debt repayment. Now, these are some ideas that I've heard out there. Crypto-backed loans, crypto-funded nonprofits and education nonprofits, crypto-funded scholarships, which is something we're trying to achieve, crypto-supported alumni giving, something else we're trying to achieve, crypto credit scores, government investment into crypto, for example, could also go into education. You have now governments like Ethiopia and El Salvador making legal tender of crypto. And then the student debt lottery, which is what I'm definitely creating right now with Laxman and his team. Any other ideas of areas where crypto can support tuition reimbursements, scholarships, and debt repayment? Okay, I guess that's a comprehensive list. All right, so I'm going to take a few minutes and introduce what we've been doing. It's a very exciting development to actually move this forward because it's been on the plate for 2 years. In my system, basically, I developed for my company because, as I said, the lawyers needed some motivation, and that there's nothing better than motivates a lawyer than money. So we try to connect crypto rewards with our completing our courses. And it led me to the thought over a lot of reflection and conversations with different people that this could be a solution to debt, student debt, one of many solutions to student debt. And so basically my system sponsors create these tax deductible NFT digital badges, and then they decide which student gets it. So they can award it themselves. They can issue the digital badge themselves. Each NFT badge has a connected fungible digital asset. Remember I talked about fungible, non-fungible, or crypto. So it's connected to cryptocurrency that the student also gets. So if they get the badge, they get the crypto. And so it doesn't have to necessarily be a student. It could be an employee for an employee reward program. And then the GETS token, which is our mechanism for exchange, can be exchanged or staked in a no-loss student debt lottery. And what's a no-loss student debt lottery, Josh? Well, Pool Together is one protocol that has one completely decentralized on the Ethereum network right now. Ours is going to be specifically for student debt. So if you buy tokens, or if you own tokens, or if you receive tokens as a student, for example, from getting one of these digital badges, then you can stake those tokens into the debt lottery. And that means, and then every fee that we take from the transfer of the badge to the of the badge from the sponsor to the student, we take 3%. We put that into the debt lottery. We also stake cryptocurrency ourselves in the crypto markets, and any interest that we accrue, we periodically will put into the debt lottery, student debt lottery. And this is 100%. So this is going to be a nonprofit organization, and we will take administrative fees, and obviously there will be 50% of these tokens available to the market, and then 50% or so assigned to badges, creation of badges. So that allows the speculators in the market to buy and trade, but also it puts a lot of these tokens aside to be used for badges. And then people can stake these into the lottery, and they can, and actually if they win the lottery, will pay off their debt. So, just to give you an idea of that, well, Bitcoin, I had Bitcoin in 2013, and then my net decided to take the money out of Bitcoin at about $5,000, take the money out of Bitcoin and put it into a student savings account. because I thought it would be more safer for my nephew, who was then at the time like 10 years old. And I put it into one of these 512 state savings accounts that's non-taxed. And so, wow, great. 10 years later, how much did he get out of there? Less than $10,000. Okay, so it did mature and it grew, and he got $10,000, or less than $10,000 actually, about $8,000 for his education. And if I would have just left that money in Bitcoin and give it to him on his 18th birthday, he would have had $250,000. He would have had, I would have had enough money in Bitcoin to pay for the entire university education of not only my nephew, but 4 other people. And so, and when you talk about holding tokens and holding badges, as the sponsor, as the student waits to be awarded the badge, the crypto might go up extremely. And then by the time they receive that badge, they might actually have enough money to pay for their education without even relying on the student debt lottery. And so as far as our digital badges, though, we've got some different ones. And the difference between our digital badges and other ones that are working in the space is that sponsors can create these themselves. So we have designs, and in the future, you'll be able to upload your own design. And so, for example, you can have your college branding on there, or your company logo, or so forth. But basically, these are non-fungible tokens that are connected to cryptocurrencies that you can access, just like the other digital badges, or just like the transcripts. Those ideas are then now in these beautiful NFTs that the sponsors create. So if you're an alumni group, or if you're a person who cares about education in any way, if you want to support your alma mater, if you want to support a certain department, now we're starting to see what kind of application blockchain can have in education, because my little technology here, you can already start to see how people can develop onto this. But this is what we're doing right now. And here's an example. Here's our lawyer. I told you we have a lawyer. And here's our literal virtual learning environment. So you could take Moodle, you could take Blackboard, you could take Canvas, you could take any of these, and you can implement a digital badge system. They already have digital badge systems. Up here on the left, you can see badges. And so in this case, our lawyer, he is not required to complete any online activities, okay? He's only required to make a bunch of money and get a bunch of clients for the law firm. So he's not interested really in doing online activities. At a university, people are maybe more engaged. But in the case of a private lawyer, he's busy. And so what more can incentivize a lawyer than just being a better legal writer and taking my course? Money, Bitcoin, right? And money. And so in this case, just by the fact that he wins something, that he gets a badge, is already enough to increase engagement at IBM. Just the fact of getting a badge already increased engagement in online courses at IBM by 600%. And then now imagine that the badge is connected to cryptocurrency. Now you have some kind of reward or some other digital asset. And that's just going to motivate him more. And this is what our student dashboard looks like. So this is all new. And Lapids Technologies working with me on this out of India. Laxman Sinj is on the call. He's the CEO and founder. And we have 30 blockchain and technical people working on this. He's got an expert team. And basically, we have a very simple dashboard where people can make exchanges. They can buy the tokens. They have their badges right here. They can buy tokens. They can swap tokens for other cryptocurrencies. They can apply tokens to say, I just got an award. I just got a badge for getting an A or reaching a certain percentage in my class, in my crypto class. So for example, you can take a badge in a learning management system, any system, whether it's Canvas or Moodle or Blackboard, and you can basically apply the criteria that they have to complete and connect it to those existing activities within the course. So you can do that and now have a blockchain verified certificate that can be accessible anywhere and looks pretty on your social media page. And so, but in any case, here the student has a dashboard. They can do some different features. It's a very basic, we're in the alpha stage here, but this can be implemented directly into university ERP system. So we can actually integrate this where students can receive university specific badges and things like that are connected to cryptocurrency. And you can imagine the kind of things that universities and students can do with that. So they're able to connect to the wallet and their backpacks, if they have different badges, if you're using a different system, they're all interconnected. They can search for badges. As you can see, we have a little search criteria coming up right there. And they can apply for awards. So they search and apply through babysitter, childcare, for example. Let's say I'm a person and I'm looking for an award because I helped children in Africa through childcare. I'm an expert. You can buy and exchange tokens and stake into crypto in the student debt lottery. And this, I was actually looking for a babysitter, and this is the first babysitter that came up on the search results. And I thought, okay, well, child care expert, I don't know. But in any case, I kept looking, I found this one. And so, and imagine this was my babysitter. Imagine that the other one was my babysitter, or imagine that this woman here is my kid's kindergarten teacher. And I want to give her an award because, you know, in the end, she's only making like this 10 euros an hour, right? So they're not really rich people here, but they've done a good job with my kid, and I want to give them an award. Or I care about early childhood education, and I want to help people with their tuition to go into these programs. So I'm going to make a badge worth $1,000 to 10 early childhood educators. I mean, sorry, you could say 0.5 Ethereum, or you can say 0.00064 Bitcoin. You can make it connected to any, you can trade that for any digital currency. And so you can award these badges and make people feel good by also giving them the credit that they deserve. And and then who does that? These are the other users, the sponsors. And so in our system, it's basically you then have this sponsor dashboard, and the sponsors can connect to the wallet, create an award NFT digital badges. So they can literally choose a theme, choose a color, and then type in what you want the title of the badge to be, the award criteria, who can fulfill that award criteria. And the student must, whoever's applying for that badge must fulfill that criteria in order to be filtered through the applications. And then, of course, you can also see who you've given tokens to, your amount of tokens, the amount that you have in drafts. So it's like, I want to draft one up for my babysitter, but I don't want to publish it yet because I still need to fill in the details or something. And and then you could also stake in crypto. So it's a solution that's on Ethereum, made possible by Ethereum network, which is quite amazing. And that's it about my technology and about this presentation, except for one thing. If you want to know more about what we're doing with student debt, you can look at our white paper. Remember at the beginning of the conversation, I said, and Trent would probably agree, these are Solidity expert here, that if you want to know more about a blockchain or a cryptocurrency, if you're thinking about investing, if you're thinking about connecting your technology to another one or something like that, or your university, you're considering that for your students, or you want to get involved somehow, read the white paper. Okay, the white paper should give you these things. And I'm an academic English. My area of expertise is not necessarily blockchain, but academic English. So I can summarize these five key things that you need to have. Right here is the readerly technical info. Does the white paper have readerly technical info? Can the general educated person understand the way that it's being explained? That means that the people or the creators of the token or the blockchain have an audience awareness. And then the utility of the token, is it have a real utility, or is it just like a Dogecoin, whatever? There's a questions whether that has a real utility or not. And then, so does it have a real practical utility? Does it function in education? Does it function and do something that I want it to do? then are there use cases? Like I've presented a couple of use cases of our technology. So when you're looking at another technology, what are the use cases? What are the potential use cases here? And in our case, these are patent pending, and so we're very happy about that. But it's got to have some kind of use case. And then blockchain justification. We hear all about new blockchain stuff. And I'm doing a blockchain, and we're doing a blockchain, and our company's doing a blockchain, and we're doing a token, and they're doing a token. But there has to be a reason to use a blockchain. Like I mentioned with digital badges, you don't need a blockchain to do a good digital badge system. And a lot of people say, well, we don't need blockchain to verify credentials even. We don't need blockchain to do this. Yet it does create a way with some amazing benefits to do those specific things. And in our case, when we're talking about education finance and a reward smart system, you need to have the smart contracts. You need to have the token to then transfer these things. So it's necessary in our digital badge system to have a blockchain. And then of course, credibility. And I'll leave that to your devices to understand what are the shady type of cryptocurrencies that are led by people that are just in it for the money, for example, or don't have bona fide qualifications. So the last thing, that's what I want to do, is just open the discussion now. If anybody wants to throw out an idea or throw out a comment or a question. And the question is, can cryptocurrencies help solve student debt? We say yes. And the floor is yours.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I was thinking throughout the PowerPoint even. I haven't taken this topic too much. That's why I definitely joined this call. I thought this was a very interesting concept in terms of how smart contracts can utilize this. I mean, just a quick idea off the top, just depending on, per major, what you want to do with your life, whether that's fine arts, computer science, there could definitely be some contracts integrated in there possibly to, give you that ROI perspective. So in terms of, you going, instead of going to junior college or community college for a fine arts degree versus a university, it could possibly weigh out those pros and cons for you. That smart contract can easily utilize, your ROI for 5 years, for 10 years, can easily give you that equity return. Smart contracts are deeper than just data. Those things, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Oracle space. I'm a big Chainlink believer. Chainlink makes my job a million times easier. For those who may not know, the big thing with smart contracts right now and why oracles are so important is that we cannot pull live data. Smart contracts cannot pull live data outside of the EVM machine. So everything locally on your machine data-wise cannot be accessible without Chainlink oracles. So you cannot go pull the data from Hong Kong without having a Chainlink oracle to pull that live data. So I can definitely see some implementations in terms of, maybe some a pre-semester smart contract for new students coming into the space. And possibly a way that they could fill in some information, what your interests are, maybe your desired salary when you get done with school, and then maybe possibly compile a good little counseling session for you, just like counselors already do for you, with education, and they'll your education counselor, you go to them and say, hey, I have these issues, this is something I'd like to solve. What classes would you recommend me taking? And I could definitely see you could, and just like that, smart contracts are made to eliminate the middleman. You take out that middleman, there you go, and you can implement just on the back end. So that's just a quick thought out there. I truly believe that. Absolutely.
Wow, I haven't heard about oracles for future ROI.
Oh yeah, oracles are amazing.
That sounds really interesting.
Chainlink, a very leader in the Oracle space. Not sure how familiar you guys are with decentralized finance, but Chainlink is the leading Oracle in the space right now. I don't think anyone comes close to competing. At least from work, we haven't had any implementations or meetings for any Oracle space that can outcompete Chainlink right now in terms of what they can pull. So.
Wow. Well, of course, the best return on investment in education is independent and critical thinking and a set of skills that can move you forward. But certainly how much those skills make in comparison to how much you've invested in education, I think is a great idea. And then also, just what you said, that's a fascinating idea. What other ideas do we have out there? Thanks, Trent.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. That's all. I appreciate it. Think about that. Possibly even tuition integration. I'd even say, versus a junior college. And, I mean, I went to junior college. I did not go to university, but I know here, at least in Arizona State, our parking pass here is, I think good friends of mine just filled out their parking pass for $800 for the semester. And that was my whole tuition for the first whole year of my community college experience. So I would, I think maybe a term of, I think some implementations of, I'd have to think about that a little bit harder, but I'll get my words together. I'll get my words together.
Right. All right. And so, but your friend, if they're paying 800 for the parking pass, I don't even want to know how much they're paying for the tuition.
Yeah. I think that kind of jumps back to my first point as well. Is just the biggest thing really is especially with the less important majors. I wouldn't even say less important in terms of fine arts, theater. Majors that you can't teach creativity. So definitely when you get to the fine arts sector and the theater, why are you going to a university paying $80,000 for a theater education when you can go to a junior college and pay, if not 75% less than that, and get the exact same education with a smaller classroom?
And smaller classroom, right?
Exactly. So I think the ledger, especially I think in blockchain for sure, there can be some algorithm, and we can mess with, we already mess with AI, machine learning, and so on. Possibly, even a test beforehand, like we've already been doing. Capture your interest, and then start kind of feeding you options in terms of, hey, this may work better in your algorithm. We already have algorithms on Twitter, Instagram. Everyone's feed is never the same. So we can already process these algorithms, I believe, to our students and have those say, hey, smart contract A is saying, hey, John, we think that you may be interested in this from your interest and then this is where the Oracle data can come in. From your interest last month, we saw that you were looking at IT positions. We would recommend that you possibly maybe want to start off your courses learning JavaScript. So those are some also small implications, possibly just getting people thought processes intact before they go to college. I mean, as a young kid, like, I didn't think I was ever going to do this. I went to school for fine arts. I'm a 3D blender and motion graphic designer. My major's in fine. Yeah, my major's in fine arts. I did not go to school for computer science and engineering. I taught myself that. So I think before kids even get into the classroom, before they even get to the point of what they want to do, because it changes often. You got people who change majors, 2 times a semester.
Careers.
And I think just, absolutely. I just think getting people getting people hip in what they already are successful at before they go to college. Because I think just going into college blindly, especially university, is a very, very bad idea. And that's usually what leads to the big student loans, is that you change from a law major to a theater major, and then shoot, you don't like theater. And the next thing you know, you're back to law. The next thing you know, you're like $200,000 in debt for these big universities.
And so, the whole thing you wanted to do is become do your art and become a graphic designer in the first place, and then how did that end up in $200,000 debt of a law degree / sociology degree, right?
Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
those are definitely interesting ideas. Now, another idea that has emerged just in my mind, looking at the loan possibilities. There's refinancing of loans nowadays, even though some of these debts are so big, and people are refinancing their education debt, which is unbelievable. But and then there's Celsius, who's now giving personal loans based on crypto collateral. And I think that this is one thing that could be in the future that we could see relatively soon. And if I could help in any way further this, that's great. Would be people who own crypto could use their crypto as collateral to back people going to school. So they could back people that, hey, you have potential. We looked at your Oracle and,
very much so.
And you look to be a promising student. Maybe you got 10 digital badges from Get Smart and you got a little bit of cryptocurrency. That's fine. But then you have backers. And these backers could say, okay, we're going to back you with a Bitcoin, and that we're going to put that into the university, and the university holds that Bitcoin. And then when the student graduates, then maybe the university gets a cut of that.
Absolutely.
And then maybe some of that goes to the student to help them start off their career. And maybe then by that time, Bitcoin has risen up 4 or 5 years later, and then some of that goes back to the student. So I see a beautiful lending paradigm that's possible. I also see the students in general, their knowledge of finance, just like as Trent was saying, that the knowledge of finance will improve, and having a better understanding before they take such risks and sign the paper off to sign their life off to debt. what they're getting into. Those are great things. And then, of course, I think every single thing that Fung mentioned, Professor Howe mentioned, is very interesting, related to blockchain in general. I would like to know if anybody had other ideas besides, obviously, the one I've presented of digital badges as kind of a sponsored rewards system. Is there other ideas that you guys have heard of or would like to discuss before we close up? Got the digital badge is kind of like a new Olympic medal, so I thought I'd add that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
So I wanted to put my my information on the screen here,
Oh,
guys.
awesome, perfect.
And so I want to have, I'm open to have personal discussions with everybody on this call, and I'm going to be reaching out to several of the people who signed up but didn't show up today. And it was amazing to see how many people were actually involved and want to be involved in this. So it's very exciting to me. I'm going to be in the United States, going to be in Miami all of August, from Friday until the end of August, and then in New York until around the 20th of September. Then periodically back in the United States. So if you'd like to have me talk in person, I don't know about the Delta variant and what's going to happen. Usually my company works in 24 countries, so I'm going around the world before COVID, but I'm open to guest talks. I'm also open to online talks. If you have guest lecturers or guest speakers, I'm open to talk about this. If you want to have a meeting with your executives, I've been at an executive level at 3 different universities, so I can handle those conversations too. And I'm definitely looking forward to helping people on board to the blockchain, especially students in debt, because as many people know, like Danila, that you can actually make some money off of this. And if you have student debt, you can pay off that student debt. And if you're part of Get Smart, you can do that too. So definitely excited to talk about students, administrators, faculty, private businesses, about some of the things they've done. I definitely encourage everybody to look at the bunch of people that signed up, and definitely reach out to anybody who you think would be a good business or networking contact directly. Or if you would like me to make an introduction, I can also further that introduction, because there's a lot of synergy within the community and the people that just signed up to this. So take a look at that, and I'll be in contact with each of you individually, and hope that you contact me. Here's my information, and definitely want to keep this discussion moving forward rather quickly. So if there's no additional ideas or comments, I'd like to say just thank you very much from the bottom of my heart to everybody that's shown up, and it means a lot, because there's 45 million people in the United States in debt, and millions around the world that could benefit from sponsorship and cryptocurrency development. I'm really proud of the work that Roberto and his team's doing, that Fung and his team's doing, all of you are doing in the educational space. And of course, special thanks to Laxman Singh and the other people at Lapitz Technologies, which is one of India's leading blockchain developers, for coming on. Laxman, is there anything you'd like to add?
I think you've covered everything, and this idea is really cool, incentivizing education, and students would get benefits so that they can repay their loans. This is really cool idea, and it's really helpful. Thank you, Jose, for this wonderful presentation, and I think you've covered it all.
Okay, now I'll let everybody I'll let you get back to sleep then, and let everybody get back to what they were doing. Thanks, everybody. We'll be in contact soon, all right?
Awesome. Thank you so much. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So much.
Bye.
Amit. Right. If any of you want to hang around, if anybody wants to hang around and talk, then I'm open to that too. I'm gonna have dinner soon, but
I'm gonna rush out and go enjoy the evening. Thank you,
okay,
Josh.
we'll be talking tomorrow then.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I definitely want to stress also that it's a great presentation, and for sure we're gonna talk Thursday, right?
Oh, sorry, Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah. Tomorrow is also fine. We do a double one.
Let's do Thursday so I can take a moment from this. But man,
Perfect.
looking forward to it, definitely.
Definitely. Likewise. Okay. Take care. Thank you.
Great.
Hey, Josh, I can't turn on my video, but regardless, let's connect afterwards. All right. I got a couple of folks. I am a member of the Government Blockchain Association, and we got a lot of solutions already. I feel like there may be some synergies you can explore with some of my colleagues. All right. They've also, at the end of the day, I do believe that, collaboration is the best move forward in our space, basically, at the moment. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So I'll connect you with your LinkedIn, and then I'll connect you with some of the folks, who are working in the education sector with blockchain and cryptos and everything. All right.
Thanks, Istake. It's really nice to meet
Sure,
you.
man. Yeah, it's very nice to meet you as well. I'll be in touch. Bye.
Looking forward.
What's the Get Smart is about? That's the part that gets me. Like, I stepped out the room for a minute, so I was wondering
Oh.
about Get Smart.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. You're a crypto investor. That's okay. So basically, if you think about a badge, right? You ever get one of these badges? Some badge that you earned?
Not for crypto yet.
That's where our patent comes in, right? Because we made it to where these digital badges can connect to cryptocurrencies. And so this is what my man Laxman's doing, who's a genius in this area. And basically we've got these digital badges that anybody can make. So, and it's tax deductible, by the way, so people can make these badges and then support education that they believe in. So if you say, oh, well, I want to support African American girls from the Bronx, New York, that are going into the blockchain space, you can create your own badge for that, your own award criteria, and then you can also decide how much cryptocurrency that person who you award that badge gets. And that is a sponsorship. You're therefore sponsoring them and their education. And so a lot of parents are going to be wanting to do this, a lot of alumni groups, a lot of people that have specific beliefs and specific things and say, oh, well, I don't want to just give the money to the university. I want to actually sponsor this group or this person myself. And by the way, obviously by holding, we create a low volatility, and therefore the token price with the tokens that are open for exchange, which is about 50% are going to be open exchange on the market in Ethereum tradable on MetaMask, that you're going to have in both some volatility by the market trading of the tokens, but then also a reserve. And that's where people are earning the badges and waiting to earn the badges and creating the badges. And that's going to create a big value to people who invest or sponsor the nonprofit. This is what it looks like in practice. You got a lawyer, boss? You got a lawyer?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. What do lawyers really like? What's one thing they really like?
What are lawyers really like?
What do they really like?
Oh, a whole lot of stuff. It's undecidable.
But mainly they like money. They like
well,
okay, they like justice, of course. But sometimes well, we can have that conversation another time, and I definitely want to have another conversation with you. But imagine we have a lawyer here who's in our actual course for my company. So I own a private company that's separate from this token, yet we are going to be the first ones to use it. And how are we going to use it? I got this lawyer who doesn't want to do the online activities because he's so busy making money that he doesn't care because he, and so, but let's say we add a digital badge that he can get for completing an activity, online activity, and he gets a little bit of cryptocurrency with it. Now I'm incentivizing my student or that user to use my product. And I'm giving him more skills as a legal writing expert because if he actually does that and completes that activity, he's going to be better at legal writing, and and his law firm is going to like him better, and they're going to see the value of investing in cryptocurrency for their employees. It's pretty cool, right? To get crypto,
It's awesome.
right? And
Exactly.
so
It caught my eyes like, huh?
yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what we're doing. So this is just one of many solutions. And then so you imagine now you think about a babysitter. You got any kids, Danilo?
Kids, but I used to work in childcare.
Oh well, I mean, at one point you got to have kids. The way you look. We need more kids that look like you in the world. But imagine now you got kids, and you used to be working in childcare. So let's say you type in to our system, babysitter childcare. You're a babysitter. You're looking for a badge, or you want to create a badge. Imagine for another childcare. Here's one that comes up. Here's one that comes up. Here's one that comes up. So, and basically you can award that badge that you created for your own babysitter, or for your kid's kindergarten teacher, or for another person that's a friend of yours that is a kindergarten teacher or a child care person. And then maybe they have student debt, maybe they don't have student debt, but you want to give them some cryptocurrency. You've been super successful in trading crypto, and you made $1 million, and you say, I'm going to give $10,000 to child care workers in my hometown. And then you create 10 badges worth $1,000 each. And guess what? You decide those child care workers that get that money, and that goes tax deductible on your side into education sponsoring of those child care workers. So that's the example there. And this is what your dashboard is going to look like, Danila. And so you can create the badges, you can choose the design, you can choose the color. We don't have the colors here yet, but you can choose the design, you can choose a color, you can choose a title, you can choose the award criteria. And yeah, it's pretty fun.
Josh, I want to add one more thing here. May I?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So apart from this actually helps students to earn and help students to repay for the debt, but it also helps people to store their achievements in a very decentralized way and secured, right, their achievements in the decentralized storage, right? This also gives this provision.
Right. So that's the other benefit. That's the main benefit.
Exactly.
Yeah, that
it keeps achievements securely in the decentralized way.
Right. So we're doing this decentralized approach to verifiable credentials. And so some of these other credentialing systems will be redundant if they use our system and they build onto it or connect it to their system. Or it can be an added verification. So they can use our tokens and our badges as an added security verification for the verifiability of the credentials. Thanks for that, Laxman. You're right. I missed that, which is a big part. Forgive me for just focusing on the finance.
Yes, that's also the biggest benefit of it. We have the badges system in the platform, and this will give people to freedom to keep their achievements in a most secured and the safe way, and the decentralized storage. That's really which is not available in the traditional education system. What they do, they give you a degree, a certificate. You have to keep that in the trunk and maybe in your almirah for years. But now your achievements are actually stored in the decentralized way. You can access anywhere you can access and show it to anyone.
Yeah, I need to look into this for real.
Yeah. So let's
will.
set up another conversation then. Yeah, and I tell you what, you know you're getting old when the your paper achievements have cobwebs, old spider webs. Great. Okay. Yeah. So I'll reach out to everybody individually, but I definitely want to have conversations with everybody interested in this space. And we're going to make this happen. We're going to build this revolution and help all these people, as many students as we can. Great. Is there anybody else that would like to talk or add anything?
Yes, I mean, if anyone have, questions to ask regarding the technology, about the idea, I think feel free to ask. So we are here to answer.
Yeah, well, one thing about this student debt's different for every country, and when it comes down to it, we're all kind of collectively responsible for supporting our young people and even and older people, lifelong learning to get access to qualifications and good qualifications. And so we're trying to do our best in that regard. And if anybody does have any questions, thinks about it later, 1 day later, 2 days later, a week later, please feel free to get in touch with me on LinkedIn or again, my email address and everything is here, but I'm available to you, and Laxman also is available to you. And I just want to say thanks again, everybody, for coming and being here, especially like Jacob, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and Laxman so late in the evening. So thank you guys, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
you.
Jose.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Bye.
All right. Bye. How do I get this off here? I just gotta finish the meeting. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.